Hello, Simo here. I'm a Coda expert and Softr certified partner. And recently, Softr has released the ability to use Coda as a data source to build no-code applications on the web and also usable on mobile. So in this video, I'm exploring this use case, how to use Coda to build minimum viable products, client portals, or internal tools for your business or for your clients using Coda as the backend or the source of your data, with all the tables and relations included, and then building the user-facing app with Softr, providing people with the ability to access the app from web or mobile, as well as a desktop application. Let's assume I'm a personal trainer and I want to provide client portals to my clients, building a custom app that's simple to navigate. It works on web and on mobile, and I have the system for internal usage in Coda. So I want to connect my Coda tables with the Softr app so that the client can see their own data while I can manage everything from my Coda doc easily. Here is a Softr app. That's a prototype very quickly that I've just created. And whenever there is a dynamic block in Softr, when I add a block, there are some dynamic blocks here. For example, here is a list block. I can also change it to horizontal cards, table, a calendar. Some of these blocks do not support Coda as a data source to pull data from, so be aware of that. At least right now, when Coda has been just released as a possible data source with Softr, so that might just be a matter of time until all the blocks are supported. The list type block is supported. So if I want to connect my Coda doc here, I'm going to go into the data source here under source. And I do not have Coda connected yet, so I will add another data source, select Coda from the list, and then continue. And then I will need to generate an API token, just like shown here. So I can open Coda and then copy the API token here. The API token gives access to Softr to your Coda docs so that you can actually access your data. This is necessary, and it's very important to keep the personal API token securely stored and not shared with anyone that doesn't need to have access to it, because it provides access to your Coda docs. So be aware of that. Now, if I open this, there's a new tab here in my browser, and these are my account settings in Coda. And when I scroll down, there is a section for API settings. And that's where I can generate an API token. So if I generate this, I will call this something that I can recognize, Softr Simo. I can add restrictions to specific docs, for example, if I want. In this case, I do not want to add any restrictions, so I'm going to generate the API token, then copy the token, go back to Softr, paste the token right here, and then continue. Now I can see data source has been connected here, Coda, and I can select my document. Once I select the document, I can select what table do I want to link to this block. Let's assume here I want to show programs for the client. So I will go into table. You can see that we have clients, invoices. So here I select my document, PTOS client template. That's the actual one that I want to use here. And then I can select what table do I want to link to this block here. So on each block, I can link a different table within my Coda doc. Before building the app, it is important that you have a proper structure in your Coda docs, meaning having data centralized and tables linked together via relation columns. So this is assumed in this video because I'm just exploring how to use Softr. I'm not exploring how to build a Coda doc. So in here, let's say I want to show the programs, and I can filter dynamically for the current user. So in my workout programs table, if I have a relation column to my clients table where I store all the client information, including the email address, which is important so they can be synced with the users of the app in Softr. Then I can add a condition that filter by the current user. You can see I can select dynamic values here, logged in user, email or full name, or user ID. And the key thing is that I link my clients table in Coda with the users in Softr. So that table data is synced with the users in Softr, and I can match the full name within that table. Then I can sort maybe by status or by date. Then I can define the content here. The title and subtitle, these are just what's at the top here, client portal, but I can hide that if I want. And then I can map columns from my Coda table into the view in Softr here. So I can have the cover media here, or I can hide it if I do not have any image column that I can map in my Coda table. Otherwise I can add a column to my Coda table if I want that. And there is program name here that is mapped from program name. I can change the data type here, maybe making it rich text. Then I have notes that are mapped in here as well. That would be helpful. The status, maybe let's make it a tag. Then I can style here each column. Maybe you want to make tags multicolor, so they will take a color instead of being just without background. So you can see how I can customize a bit the layout and the design of my app in here. Maybe I want a search bar, maybe I do not want it, so I'm gonna deactivate it. I might have filters, and this could be filtered by objective. Maybe that's a helpful filter for my client to search through programs easily. And I can add additional filters here by clicking this plus button. Then if I go to the actions column, there can be a top bar button here, add client portal. This was just an example. We don't really need that because I know that programs will only be added by the personal trainer internally and not by the client who is the user of this app. And then there are item buttons. So these are the buttons that are on each tile, on each card, on each program, just like here. And here as well, I can add multiple buttons. And when I add a button, you can see here, there are different actions that I can select. Open details page. I can scroll to a specific block in my Softr app because blocks have unique IDs, which are here at the very top, and I can change them. I can also open a URL. It could be dynamic. I can edit the record, meaning edit the data of the program in this case. Do a one-click update. For example, changing the status of this program to done, just with one click. Or I can delete the record, download the file, call an API, which is useful if there are any integrations or actions that require a webhook, for example, and then automation in the backend to make that work. In this case, let's do one-click updates where we can change the status to a custom value that is going to be completed. And that's what we're going to do here. And then we can have a success message that says program marked as complete. I can also add an icon. I do not want it, so let's keep it like that. And there are additional actions on clicking the item. So when I click this button, I can do a one-click update, which I can also change here. Mark complete. And when I click on the whole card in here, I can open the details page. So entering into that program and seeing more details. And that's what I want here in this case. So then if we open the details page, what's the details page we want to open? And in this case, it is called client portal details. So if I go to pages on the left sidebar, I can see there is already a page here. And we can construct it as we like with the same process as before. Because that's a dynamic block, I can select my Coda doc and the table from the doc where I get the data. In my case, this will be the same table as before, the programs table. Once I move to the content tab, I can select what to show in here. Now, if I add a new block, I can then show all the sessions for the program. In this case, I know that we are on the program page, and each program is composed of multiple sessions. So we add, probably the ideal block in here would be a table. Although the issue is that if I use a table, I can't use Coda as a data source right now. So for the sake of this example, I will use a list block. And then I can use Coda and I can select my document and my table. In this case, this will be the sessions table that I have in my Coda doc. So once I select my table here, I can then filter dynamically to show only the sessions that are related to the program that I'm looking at. So for this, I will do select a field. This will be program, includes any of, and then I will do current record. So that's a dynamic filter, and the program name. That's the primary key, so to speak, of my Coda table. Then I can select other things, such as what to show when there is no result, and so on. I'm going to skip through this. Then I can do the content. So because that's a list block, the same exact process and principles as before apply. So I can customize the content to see what to show on each card, what to do when a user clicks on a card, or if I want a user to quickly update each card or add a new session, for example, at the top, or track sessions. So this is all app-specific logic that I need to think of beforehand or while building the app, what they want the users to do, and how can I facilitate that process as much as possible. So you can see how this is not a matter of just plugging and playing. If you want to build a useful, user-friendly app that is enjoyable to use and actually effective, then you need to do a bit of thinking beforehand, not only to determine the data structure of your Coda doc that is scalable and appropriate for the use case, but also the user experience and user interface of the application that you're building in Softr, and how to think about all the user flows that will happen. So this is akin to a process of building an actual app, any app, regardless of whether you're using Coda and Softr or you're building it in Next.js or another coding language. So once we've built out the application, I can then preview it as a user. For example, here is a user. That's what I would see here. I have one program. If I click on it, I can open the program page and see all the sessions of these programs. I can see there are some nodes. The status is active. This is the start date, that's the end date. And there is one session, full body A, on May 14th. So I can open this session here to see more details about it. In particular, all the exercises that are part of this session. So I can see chest press machine, 3 sets, 10 reps, 1 minute rest. No 1 rep max, no notes. And there is also a demo video that I can directly play from here. And I can then open in full screen or copy the link and open in a new tab. That's just one option. I selected an embed option, but I can just include the demo video link for the user to open a new tab. You can see here there is also seemingly a problem with the embed that doesn't show the full width of the card. So that's something to fix in this specific case. And this is a way to show you an idea of what it could look like as a personal trainer. I would access all that data in my Coda doc, where I can see all the clients, all the programs, all the sessions. And this is a Coda doc that's available to the public as well for purchase. I created it last year. And there is a video on the YouTube channel that explains exactly how it works. There is also a Notion version of the personal trainer OS that you might want to check out. So here we go. That's what I wanted to say about this, how to use Coda as a data source in Softr to build client portals, MVPs, minimum viable products, that are essentially simple applications that show how your app works as a proof of concept, and for testing purposes with early users to validate your idea or iterate accordingly, which is an approach that's particularly used in software development and startups in the Silicon Valley area and around the world nowadays. I will leave relevant links in the description of this video. If you have questions, drop them down below in the comments. If you want to work with me to build your custom apps or your custom internal tools, operating systems with or without AI, do reach out to me. You can find the information in the description of the video. For now, thank you for watching and see you soon in the next video.